There's several obviously ingredients in it. One of its biggest claims is chamomile's form of azurine, and it's chamomile azurine, and it works on the skin to soften the skin. It's very important for many skin remedies. There's a product that was on the market for a long time called Camel Care cream, and it was excellent for young kids' eczema. We don't have a distributor in our local area anymore, so we don't use it, but it still is available on the American market. But I found external remedies work really good on kids up to about 9 or 10 who have eczema. When I say that, it really has to do with the quality of the skin. Some older people can do it too. Again, especially oriental skin, because it has a special quality to it, that you can use it externally to be able to rebalance the oils. But the Camel Care cream I've used on literally hundreds of young kids that have eczema on their face or various parts of the body, and it will go in short order. We've also found various oils like evening primrose oil, borage oil, blackcurrant oil will be able to be put on topically on young kids under 9, I'm saying, to be able to work instead of having to take it orally. But the active ingredient for that is theoretically this camazrazine that's working on it. It probably has some of the other qualities, but I'm sure because of its overall calming function, there's got to be something else in there that's really doing this. As far as medical research, there is a relative amount of medical research because it is such a famous herb in nature. Probably its biggest thing is the calming the digestion. It's the Anthritic acid is supposed to be relaxing and carminative in general. It's a mild mucous membrane irritant, so part of the way it works is just irritate the stomach ever so slightly and therefore get the digestive enzymes and the mucus to flow, and that's how it works. Therefore meaning large doses don't work quite as good. It has been shown to be a tonic function. It's somewhat a spasmolytic agent to stop spasms and colicky type things throughout the whole digestive tract, but the active ingredients being found 1 part in 30,000 to be able to work that. As an anti-inflammatory, it's really pretty good, especially for in the digestive tract, stomach ulcers and things like that. But I've known herbalists that use any kind of inflammation in a child drinking as a tea, and even adults, all the way up to arthritic things. I've found other things that work better in that, but it shortens the healing time for burns, stomach ulcers, and it also has an antihistamine effect. As an antimicrobial nature, it's been, again, anti-inflammatory and anodyne, but it works on several bacterias. Again, this is mostly the volatile oils in it, so it depends on how you use it. Because of this high volatile oil content, you would never boil it typically, unless one of the old folk remedy cures is to boil chamomile. How come? Well, what you do is you take a big pot, you put a bunch of chamomile, you boil it, and then you put a towel over your head and you lean over it and use it as a vapor tent, and it really helps clean out the lungs, work on fevers. It's so commonly used in European folklore that almost everybody knows it. It's the first thing you would do in that whole area whenever you get a cold and flu. And if anything, it calms you down, takes care of the fever, and works that way. So you can use that volatile nature of functional. As a female tonic, it works on strengthening the uterus. It's also will help work on an anti-estrogen function and be able to soothe the female uterus in general. Homeopathically, as I said, it almost has the same functions. It has this kind of transition between homeopathic, flower essence, and herb that not very few herbs have. But it seems to work on a homeopathic nature, more on the mental aspects of the crankiness, as a flower essence more on the emotional aspects, and as a herbal more on the physical aspects. That doesn't mean that a homeopathic wouldn't settle the stomach. It does, but you're actually better to give a teaspoon of herb or drink a little bit of herb tea to settle the stomach than the actual homeopathic. But if the stomach is tight because of mental issues, you're better to give a homeopathic for it. There's nothing wrong with doing a Homocord, doing a flower essence, a homeopathic, and the tea all at the same time. They're not conflicting information there, which they would be in some areas. It's a stomachic, antispasmodic, tonic if cold, stimulant, carminative, diaphoretic if it's taken hot, nervine, emmenagogue, sedative, anti-inflammatory, voluntary, and antimicrobial. So it has a fair amount of uses, but if I had to give its number one use, it's for flatulence, colic, or that indigestion function, especially if there's nervousness involved with the whole thing. It's also fairly good for insomnia. It can work, it'll calm a person down to fall asleep as a tea, but it works better as a flower essence for insomnia than it does as a tea for insomnia, because it works more on the emotional anxiety or that nervous tension where the person is repeating things over and over in their head. For dysmenorrhea and migraines, it works a little bit better as a tea than it would in the other ways. From a flower essence point of view, it's peaceful, sunny disposition, emotional balance. It's used for that moody, irritable, easily upset, with inability to release emotional tension, especially in the stomach and the solar plexus. But again, that's the emotional tension in those areas that can cause the digestive problem, not the opposite way around. Fairly useful herb, and some people have literally built practices almost completely around it.